So I decided to wait until the morning after, or a couple hours after getting some sleep anyway, to do the Backlash reaction video, given the fact that after the last match had finished, I was pretty knackered and decided I needed to get some rest. But in terms of how I thought the pay-per-view went as a whole, or the PLE went as a whole, uh, full of pretty good matches, if not great matches, with some really weird endings, it seemed like. But we'll get into all that in a second. We're starting off with the match that opened the show, the match that I said in the predictions had the potential to steal the show and be the match of the night. And it was very good, very well executed overall. I felt like, of course, we had the debut of Jeff Cobb at the end. I think the right winner happened in the match as well. Jacob Fatu looked really good in the match in terms of the offense. He was getting off some really good sequences. Of course, we got the news after the match that Drew McIntyre picked up a little bit of a knock in the table spot with Damian Priest, where his head hit the floor after just landing a wee bit too far back. But I thought the whole ending itself a little bit strange in terms of how long Jacob was looking at Solo and Jeff Cobb for. And I don't think it was the best of benefits to him overall to have him get the help unless you do a face turn down the line. By no means was it the worst finish on the card. Not at all. But and I do think they are going to go for a face turn down the line, given the reaction that Jacob had to receiving the help, and also the crowd reactions that Jacob's getting at the moment. But overall, solid match. Ending was a wee bit strange for me, but overall, solid match. On to the next match, the Women's Intercontinental Championship bout between Lila Valkyria and Becky Lynch, which I did predict wrong, which I'm not overly disappointed about. I thought you know how when you get a match that's going on and then the finish just seems a little bit out of nowhere. That's kind of how I felt with this. And they made Lyra look very strong in the match, which I'm not against. She took a lot of finishes from Becky and kept kicking out. And then, of course, ended up winning the match as well. I'm just, sometimes when a finish just comes out of nowhere like that, sometimes it can be good. You're like, oh, great, surprise, that was well executed. I just felt that this one was a bit of a strange finish. And then, of course, Becky attacking Lyra after the match. I was pretty confident that Bayley was going to come out then, and she didn't. So, it looks like we're going to get another match between these two down the line. I thought the match overall was solid, pretty clean, not a lot of mistakes on show. I just felt that the finish was kind of out of nowhere and kind of strange, but happy with how strong they made Lyra look in the match anyway, and I'm happy that she retained, despite the fact that I predicted that she wouldn't retain. And then another one that I predicted to lose the championship via Finn getting involved and costing him the title. And it looked like at one point that might happen when there was the whole miscommunication with Finn grabbing a chair and stuff. But it didn't end up happening. El Grande Americano got involved. So perhaps that's a package they'll be looking to do going forward with him and Penta. But in terms of the match itself, I thought Dom had a really good show and he's still getting positive crowd reactions. It's just a shame that there was as many shenanigans as there was, and they haven't pulled the trigger on the heel turn yet. And not only that, that's 2 out of the 3 matches on the card that had shenanigans in it to help someone win. We'll see how that trend continues in the rest of the PLE or pay-per-view. But yeah, I thought in terms of an in-ring showing in a one-on-one match, that might be Dom's best match in WWE so far in terms of that. He, of course, pulled out the Oblivion as well. Of course, Penta looked good in the ring. I thought the Mexican Destroyer on the apron, that, to me, something like a Mexican Destroyer or a Canadian Destroyer should be enough to win matches on their own. Anyway, at the end of the day, it's a really flashy front flip looking pile driver, and the pile driver is supposed to be devastating. So when that happened, I thought, oh, he might be winning it right here. But then obviously that's when the shenanigans started taking place. But you can tell with obviously the way that Finn keeps looking at the title and stuff like that, and the way that he's acting, they are going to pull the trigger on that down the line at some point. I just thought it was going to be tonight, but they decided not to. I'm not opposed to Dominic keeping the title, and Penta not losing clean is always a bonus. Next up, we have the match between Gunther and Pat McAfee, which was a lot better than it had any right to be. I think it's a little bit disappointing that Pat McAfee versus Gunther was a lot better than Jey Uso versus Gunther. And of course, we had the shenanigans, as you can see, of Michael Cole getting involved. I thought at that point they were actually going to give Pat the win, but he had Gunther kick out. And definitely we had the right winner. Gunther's credibility had already been damaged after the WrestleMania match. If he'd lost this match, then it would have severely damaged his credibility. Pat got some offense in, but Gunther, I don't think, ever looked close to getting beat, apart from when Michael Cole had a hold of his ankle to try and help Pat to cheat to win. But if you're keeping count, this is our third match of 4 that has had some sort of shenanigans taking place in it from outside interference. So that's something that was a little bit repetitive to me on the night, and of course the finish itself, they had Pat powering out of the sleeper at one point, only to just get put straight back in it and then pass out anyway, and he's like, oh, well, I didn't tap out. And then we had Gunther, who was really vile towards the pair of them during the match and the build-up to it, then kind of tip his hat at the end of it. So that, to me, all seemed a little bit strange, personally. But in terms of the match itself, like I said, it was way better than it had any right to be, in my opinion. There was one occasion where Pat made a little mistake when he was jumping over the ropes and got his foot caught, but he recovered well quickly for it. And yeah, pretty enjoyable match overall, I would say, and the right winner again. And on to our main event, which again was way better than John Cena's Mania match. I think he took that to heart potentially, and Randy Orton and him put on a really good match, although it was the return of Super Cena, because Randy hit him with all sorts, and Cena kept kicking out. And to me, you can do referee spots where they get taken out. That's fine, but they did it like 3 or 4 times in this match. I mean, come on now. And there was time that the whole Nick Aldis spot, as much as it was fun seeing Randy just RKO and all of those individuals, Jamie Noble was involved in that as well. The Hurricane, I think, was in there too. Why they're all running out and not a different referee is beyond me. With that, and then how long it took the second referee to come down, it was just as much as the match was good, I think the ending was very hokey, and it just tainted it a little bit. It's John Cena. I know he's heel, but you don't need him to have lots of like outside hokiness to win the championship in all his matches or retain the championship. It's John Cena. We know that he's capable of winning matches. So far, even before he turned heel at the Chamber, Seth helps him beat Punk. After that, we have Travis Scott, of all people, helping him beat Cody. And now tonight we had him cheating to win, which is fine. Heels can do that. Low blows and title shots and stuff. But R-Truth coming out and giving him a hand as well, which they appear to be building to John Cena versus R-Truth at Saturday night's main event. John Cena, of course, in the press conference, gave R-Truth an AA through the table. I just thought it was the way that they ended the match, again, a little bit strange that Cena took all this offense, RKOs after RKOs, AAs through the tables, and then it was a title shot to the head that finished Randy off in the end, which, Super Cena was on show, like I said, but it just made Randy look a little bit weak at the end. I thought that was a little bit strange, especially since not only was he hitting the head with the title shot and then still beat, the ref took a little bit of time getting in the ring. I thought it was the perfect time to have Randy kick out. I'm not saying it was the wrong decision to keep the title on Cena. I don't think it was. It's just the way, really good match, kind of spoiled by the ending a little bit for me, which was kind of the theme of the show. We had, I enjoyed all 5 matches. It's just that at times the endings of each of them kind of left a sour taste in the mouth for some of them. Not to say it was a bad show by any means because of the endings, it's just the endings were a wee bit strange to me, and that brings it down a little bit. But overall, I thought it was a really solid show. In fairness, apart from some of the endings, I know that people will complain that it was kind of pointless, the show, in that we didn't have any titles changing hands. There wasn't the best of build to most of the matches. And, you know, apart from Jeff Cobb debuting, there wasn't a lot of story development apart from maybe arguing that we've got R-Truth versus John Cena, which I don't think a lot of people asked for in this retirement run, in fairness. And we have El Grande Americano getting involved with Penta as well. So the strange pay-per-view to say the least, or PLE to say the least, but I did actually enjoy the matches apart from some of the finishes. And out with all of the predictions as well, I did only get 2 wrong, so that's a positive ratio for that. And then I'm glad that the ones that I did get wrong, I actually did get wrong, because I don't mind either of the 2 IC titles remaining on our current champions. I can see why people would be disappointed that none of the titles changed hands, but I certainly am not in this case. Thank you very much for watching. If you are new around here, please like and subscribe. And if you've got any thoughts on the event yourself, let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one.